what are you doing here?
Yes, learn from your brother who is giving us $2,500 a month.
Huh? That's me.
Oh, so you're lying to take credit for your brother's achievements? I can't believe it.
You're not a family member. I'm cutting ties with you.
I understand. These parents are no longer important to me. I will cut ties with them. They should realize what will happen when the allowance stops. My name is Mia. I am a 38-year-old company owner. The company was small at first, but now it has grown to have more than 20 employees. Since it is still a developing company, I want to expand its scale while cooperating with my employees in the future. They always say things like this.
Please confirm. There is a meeting at 4 p.m. The president of our business partner is calling.
I lead a hectic life like this, but I feel very fulfilled by my work. However, I could never have imagined being in the situation I am in now when I was younger. My family environment was not very good. It wasn't because we were poor or anything like that. But I had to drop out of high school and was then forced to leave home. The reason I had to leave home was because of my younger brother. My brother Michael was always smart from a young age and was called a genius by those around him. Seeing his high level of ability, my parents doted on him. They spent all their time on him. They made him take swimming, piano, cram school, and anything else they could think of. And my brother did well in everything. As a result, my parents' favoritism towards their son became even more intense.
Michael is really amazing.
He's our pride and joy. Let's go out for a fancy steak dinner with the three of us to celebrate.
Yay. Steak.
Mia, you stay home.
It's a waste to have steak with a failure like you.
My parents always called me a failure. It's not that I couldn't study, but my academic ability wasn't particularly high. I was slightly above average. However, my parents, who saw my brother's success, compared me to him and called me a failure. Their attitude towards me after that was terrible. First of all, they felt that everything about me was a waste. I couldn't get new clothes, and I had to wear hand-me-downs from my cousins. On the other hand, my brother always got new clothes, and he was taken shopping. He was always treated to delicious lunches and sweets, and he even got toys. When I heard that story, I was really shocked. Why did my parents have to distinguish so much between me and my brother? I was doing my best too. My parents seemed to have no interest in me. So they told me that I must only apply to public high schools with low tuition fees, and if I want to go to a private high school, I should work instead of going to high school. I never thought they would say something like that, so I studied hard and passed the entrance exam for a public high school. I thought it was good that I could finally become a high school student, but an incident occurred when I was a second-year high school student. It all started when my brother said he wanted to go to a private high school. In the area where I live, there was a public high school with the highest academic ability. But my brother said there was a private high school he wanted to attend more than that one. That school also had a high academic level, so my parents agreed. However, my parents, who had invested a lot of money in my brother, wanted to save money for his university education. At that time, I became the sacrifice.
Michael's future is more important than yours. So you should quit high school and work.
I couldn't believe my ears. I don't want to quit school. I have a lot of friends, and I want to go to college too.
Don't be selfish. We don't have money to spend on failures like you. Instead, repay us for raising you.
Don't take it for granted that you have food to eat every day.
My father and mother ordered me to drop out of school by force. I couldn't resist, so I had no choice but to quit high school. And so, I ended up getting a part-time job. While everyone was at school, I worked at a fast food restaurant and earned money. However, most of that salary was collected by my parents and became money for my brother's future tuition. Even though I was earning and giving them money, my parents didn't change their attitude towards me. I was very sad every day when I saw my brother having fun conversations with them in front of me. Moreover, one day I learned a surprising fact. It was when I was heading to work in the morning and passed by a neighbor, so I greeted them. Then they gave me a stern look and said this.
You shouldn't trouble your parents so much. Dropping out of high school and working part-time to play around, isn't that a misfortune for your parents? Michael is so splendid, but what are you doing to ruin your family's reputation?
I was so shocked that I couldn't move from that spot for a while. I never thought that the neighbor thought of me that way, and I thought it was definitely because of my mother. I had seen my mother bragging about my brother to the neighbors. She probably explained me like that at that time. They made my problem their own, even though they made me drop out of school for their convenience. According to the neighbor, my parents were worried about how to deal with me. They treated me like a nuisance, but they didn't even know how to deal with me. At that time, I didn't want to stay at home anymore. I'm leaving this house.
What are you talking about?
I can't admit that you live alone. We don't have that kind of money.
I'll live alone with my own earnings. I'll transfer the $350 I've been paying out of my salary every month until Michael goes to college, so I don't want to stay in this house anymore. When I said that, my parents finally allowed me to leave.
Haha, we don't really want to see your face either.
That's right. As long as Michael is here, there's no problem. We don't need an ungrateful and useless daughter.
My parents kept saying terrible things until the end. But I got permission, so I'll take it as a good thing. I immediately rented a room and moved out. I had no money at all, so I worked part-time jobs to earn a living. When I became an adult, I started working at a hostess bar on weekends to earn more money. That's when I started to put on makeup properly. I didn't even have money to buy cosmetics until then. But here, I had to put on makeup properly to look beautiful. I asked other cast members for cheap cosmetics, and I worked hard to get them with a small budget. Then I did my own research and came up with makeup that would make me look cuter. Whether it was effective or not, I gradually started to get more and more popular and my income increased. I quit one of my part-time jobs and increased my work at the hostess bar. Since I had worked in customer service before, there was no problem with honorifics and so on. The longer I worked, the more my income increased, and I was able to save money. Then I had a certain desire. That was to go to college. As a high school student, I couldn't earn tuition fees by myself. But now that I was a working adult and my income had increased, I thought I could go to college. From then on, I started studying for the entrance exam in my free time. And a year later, I was able to pass the university entrance exam. I enrolled in a university with a school of pharmacy. The reason I chose that university was because I wanted to develop cosmetics in the future. When I was working at the hostess bar, I became very interested in cosmetics because I did a lot of research on makeup. After that, I spent 4 years going to college while working at the hostess bar to pay for my living expenses. After graduating from college, I was able to get a job at a cosmetics company. I felt like I was getting closer to my dream step by step and was able to spend a very fulfilling time. After I started working, I worked hard every day. Since it was something I was interested in, I was able to gain new knowledge every day, and it was a lot of fun. I became more and more absorbed in the world of cosmetics and achieved results in my work. Then I started to think that I wanted to make my own cosmetics and sell them. From there, I started raising funds for my startup. I worked hard every day with my dream as my driving force. There was a time when I thought I would cut down on food expenses and only eat mung beans. And then, a few years ago, I started my own company. It was my first time running a business, and I was too scared to know what would happen, but my curiosity won out. From then on, I developed cosmetics while doing my own sales. My steady efforts bore fruit, and I gradually gained more contracts. I think I was able to build up trust and credibility by carefully completing each job in front of me. At the time of the company's establishment, there was hardly any profit, but now that sales have increased considerably, I am surprised to be able to earn an income that is quite surprising even to myself. When I was thinking of continuing to work hard like this, I received a call from an unknown number. Who could it be? I had a bad feeling, but maybe it was a new business partner. I thought it would be a problem if it was a business partner, so I answered the phone. Hello?
Hey, it's been a while, Mia.
Wait, is this Michael?
You got it.
What's up all of a sudden? I was surprised when my brother called me. The last time I talked to him was when I left home. It's been over 10 years since then. I wonder why he called me now.
I saw you in a business magazine. I was reading it casually and saw a face that looked familiar and was surprised.
I thought, uh-oh. I did receive an offer for a magazine interview. But I thought my parents wouldn't read it anyway, so I thought it would be okay to accept the interview. But my brother read the article at that time and found out that I was running a company. So what's up? You didn't call me just to report that you saw me in a magazine, did you?
Wow, you're sharp. Actually, I want you to send money to Mom and Dad.
Huh? Send money? Why me? I had a falling out with my parents. I've been treated pretty badly, so there's no reason for me to send them money. I don't want to send money.
Don't say that. Actually.
Huh? Dad got laid off?
Yeah, it seems like they're having a hard time making ends meet, and Mom always looks sad since she got sick.
Huh? Really? I was quite shaken. Even though I've been treated so badly, they're still my parents. I'm worried that my family is going through a tough time.
Are you willing to send money?
Well, if it's just a little bit, I can help.
Great, then I'll give it to them. I'm asking for a monthly allowance of $2,500.
$2,500? That's a bit too much.
No, when Mom was sick, she had to have surgery and hospitalization, which cost a lot of money. And then Dad got laid off, so it's been tough.
I see. I ended up accepting my brother's request and transferring $2,500 as he told me to. Even though they treated me so badly, I couldn't help but feel that I wanted to take care of my parents because they're still my parents. I wanted to help if I could improve the current difficult situation. So I sent money to my parents. It was not a cheap amount, but I was able to live as usual while sending $2,500 a month because I was running a company and had a high income. After that, I sent money to the account my brother told me to while busy with work every day. I still didn't have the courage to meet my parents. But it had been about 3 months since I started sending money, so I thought it would be nice if they contacted me soon. Maybe the fact that my parents are receiving money from me is hard to accept for them who have always denied me. They might not want to admit that they are in a situation where they need help. I spent restless days with various emotions crossing my mind. Then I thought I had no choice but to talk to my parents directly. I wanted to meet them after a long time and hear what they were thinking now. But my brother stopped me when I told him that.
Well, Mom and Dad are feeling down now. So I think meeting them might be a little too stimulating.
Really? But I'm sending money every month.
Yeah, but there are a lot of things going on with Mom and Dad. So please wait a little longer to meet them.
My brother told me not to meet my parents like that. And he didn't tell me where my parents were at all. The place where my parents used to live was a rental apartment, but it seemed that they no longer lived there after more than 10 years. My brother still wouldn't let me meet my parents. I thought it would be faster to look for them myself. So I asked a detective agency to find out where they were. My parents were living in a certain apartment. It was a high-rent apartment. Are they really in financial trouble? When I pressed the intercom, I heard my mother's voice. It was the first time I had heard my mother's voice in a long time.
Who are you?
I wondered if she didn't recognize me after more than 10 years. It's me, Mia. It's been a while, Mom. When I said that, my mother fell silent. Hello? Are you there, Mom? I was worried that the intercom had been cut off. Then my mother said in a cold voice,
What are you here for? We don't have any money.
She seemed to have some kind of misunderstanding, so I told her that I just wanted to see how they were doing. Anyway, I had the entrance door of the apartment opened and then headed to the room where my parents lived. When I pressed the doorbell, my mother opened the door and greeted me. And there was my father. Hey, it's been a while. My father and mother didn't look much different, but they looked their age.
What did you come here for?
My parents glared at me with their arms crossed. Hey, don't be so wary. Michael told me that you guys were in a tough situation.
Michael?
Yeah, he said that you were laid off and that Mom had surgery.
It was tough.
But we were saved by Michael. You haven't done anything. So why did you suddenly come here now?
Huh? I haven't done anything?
That's right. What are you doing here?
You should learn from your brother who sends $2,500 a month.
I didn't understand. Huh? That's me though. I mean, I'm the one who sends $2,500
Are you trying
a
to
month.
take credit for your brother's achievements by lying? I can't believe it.
You're not family. I'm cutting ties with you.
My parents didn't believe anything I said. But since I had transferred the money to my brother's account and he had given it to them directly, they probably didn't believe that it was from me. It was cruel of them to insult me like that and say that they would cut ties with me. I had been sending them money for the past few months to help them.
Your existence has been a nuisance since the beginning.
Yes. We only needed Michael.
Got it. I don't care anymore. I'll cut ties with these parents myself. They should realize what will happen when the money stops. I went home immediately. And I decided not to send them money anymore. The next day, my brother called me, but I ignored him. He would probably just insult me too. I won't send him money anymore, and there's nothing to talk about. I blocked my brother's calls and returned to my daily life. I have a lot of work to do because it's very busy. It was already the next month before I knew it. Then I received a call from an unknown number. I thought it was a prank call, but it kept calling me, so I answered it fearfully. Huh? Is that you, Mom?
Yes. It's been a long time.
What's wrong? Why is Mom calling me?
Don't say it like that. We're parent and child, aren't we?
Weren't we supposed to cut ties?
I don't want to. That was, a joke.
I see. They can't make ends meet because I stopped sending them money. And when they urged my brother, he probably told them that I was sending them money.
If you were sending us money, you should have told us from the beginning.
I did explain it like that, but you didn't believe me.
But at that time, Michael said he was sending us money. Besides, Michael was living with us and paying part of the rent for that room.
I see. You were living together. It seems that my brother also benefited from my money.
It's your father. I can't believe Mia is running a company. You're my proud daughter.
My father tried to flatter me. This is a complete turnaround. Last month, you said that you only needed Michael.
Well,
I don't want to be manipulated by you anymore, so I'll tell you clearly. I won't have anything to do with you anymore. I'll cut ties with you and Michael. If you appear in front of me again, I'll call the police without mercy. Don't show your face to me again.
wait a minute.
That's right. We can't live without your money.
I've been sending you money for about 6 months, so you should have some savings.
No. When we moved to a new place, we bought expensive furniture and appliances, so all the money's gone every month.
I see. Then sell the furniture and pay the rent. Anyway, I won't have anything to do with you anymore. Bye.
Oh, wait.
I said that and hung up the phone and immediately blocked their calls. According to what I heard from relatives, my parents and brother were begging for money from relatives. I suddenly wondered if my brother, who was good at studying, couldn't produce results at work. When I asked a relative about it, it seemed that my brother couldn't get a good job. Moreover, my proud brother failed at work without listening to his boss and quit the company because he couldn't bear the cold looks from his surroundings. After that, he worked as a part-time worker and earned about $700 per month. He couldn't tell my parents about it because of his pride, so he put the money I gave him into my parents' house as if he had earned it himself. Well, even if he did that, he would eventually be exposed, and it's all his own fault. I'm going to forget about my parents and brother and keep moving forward with my life. My current family is the employees who work for my company. I'll work hard today to protect their lives.
Thank you for watching until the end. If you like, please subscribe to my channel. Let's meet again in the next video. How was this story? Please also, subscribe to my channel. Well then, let's meet again in the next video.
You are such a terrible person. Get out of here right now. I don't even want to see your face.
My husband, who believed my mother-in-law's lie, said that and kicked me out of the house. My mother-in-law was laughing at me from behind. I don't care anymore. If he's going to do that, I won't show any mercy either. I'll send you to hell. My name is Amy. I'm a 32-year-old nurse. I've been married to my husband Mason for 3 years. I have a busy job with night shifts, but Mason is understanding and treats me kindly. I'm home.
You're late again today.
Sorry, one of my patient's condition worsened.
It's okay. Being a nurse is tough.
Thank you. Sorry, I just bought some side dishes.
It's okay. I like those side dishes. I also prepared bread and soup.
Wow, thank you. That helps a lot. Mason helps me with these simple household chores. It's really helpful when I'm busy with work. He takes care of me, and I think I was able to marry a good husband. It's been 3 years since we got married, but thanks to Mason's kindness, we still have a very good relationship. I thought we would continue to live happily as a couple and eventually build a happy family with children. However, something happened and our relationship gradually changed. It happened one day. On a holiday, when we were resting at home, Mason received a call from his mother.
Hello, Mom. What's up?
I'm sorry to bother you all of a sudden. There's something I'm worried about.
What? Something worrying?
Actually, your father is acting strange.
Strange.
I don't know how to put it, but he's showing some symptoms of dementia.
What? Are you kidding me?
He still remembers my name and such, so I think it's mild, but I'm worried about what will happen in the future.
Oh, I know. If there's anything I can do, just tell me.
Thank you, Mason.
After hanging up the phone, Mason told me that his father was suspected of having dementia.
I'm worried about my dad. He's been healthy until now, so I'm worried. I want to do something for him.
Yeah. If there's anything I can do to help, I'll do it.
Thank you, Amy.
I looked for a good hospital to visit for dementia and asked other nurses at work. I was prepared for anything that might happen. But things took an unexpected turn. It was Mason's words that triggered it. One day, Mason told me that he had something to talk to me about. What is it? I sat across from Mason at the dining table, drinking coffee after dinner. I stopped stirring my coffee with a spoon when Mason said something unbelievable.
I'm thinking of living with my mother and father.
What? Living together?
Don't you remember I told you that my father was suspected of having dementia? His symptoms have gotten worse, and my mother is having a hard time. So I thought we should move back. It would help prevent his condition from worsening, and we could take care of him if anything happened. Of course, you'll help my father too, right?
Well.
You said you'd help before, didn't you?
I said I would help by finding a hospital or something, but I never agreed to live with them.
Amy, do you not want to live with them? Don't you care about my parents?
No, it's not that.
Then it's okay, right?
Mason decided to force us to live together. I felt a little uneasy about the way he decided it without asking me. I was shocked that Mason, who is usually so kind, would force us to live together like this. But he has always been understanding of my work and helped with household chores. Although I don't agree with what he did this time, I started to think that maybe I should accept living with his parents, considering all the kindness and gratitude he has shown me so far. That's how I convinced myself. I reported to my parents that we had decided to live together.
I see. Dementia is tough, so I understand the desire to cooperate as a family. But don't push yourself too hard.
You can come back here anytime if something happens. Your home is here.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. And so we moved into my in-laws' house and started living together with them. Nice to meet you from today.
Yes, nice to meet you too. I'm sorry to ask so soon, but could you prepare lunch?
Oh, yes, I understand. It was around lunchtime, so I started preparing right away. We had lunch together with my in-laws, and then I washed the dishes and started unpacking. That's when my father-in-law suddenly spoke to me.
Is lunch ready yet?
What?
You had lunch, didn't you?
Huh? Did I?
Yes, let's go back to the living room and not disturb the unpacking.
I was relieved that my mother-in-law helped me, but I saw that my father-in-law had dementia. He's definitely showing symptoms. Maybe I should introduce him to a hospital soon.
I'm still worried about my dad.
Yeah. Me too. He hasn't been examined at the hospital yet, right?
Yeah, he seems to really hate going to the hospital. It's taking a lot of effort to convince him.
I see. I understand that this won't be easy. I'll do everything I can to help.
Thanks. I'm glad you're my wife. You're very reliable.
Mason. I was happy to be appreciated like that by Mason. I still don't agree with the fact that we were forced to live together, but there's nothing we can do now that we've started living together. I'll just do my best in this environment. I decided to communicate well with my in-laws from now on. I think the cohabitation was going well at first because Mason explained everything to my mother-in-law, and she showed understanding about my job. So on days when I had night shifts, my mother-in-law took the lead on household chores, which was a great help to me. However, the situation gradually began to change, and my share of the household chores increased. On nights when I had night shifts, my mother-in-law asked me to prepare breakfast for my in-laws and Mason before work, so my role was to prepare breakfast for them the next day. It was quite a hassle, and it was also physically exhausting to cook dinner too. And it wasn't just night shifts that were difficult. Even on days when I was a little late, my mother-in-law would get very angry.
What time do you think it is? It's already past 6 p.m. I'm starving, so make dinner quickly.
I'm sorry, work ran late.
I don't want to hear your excuses. You're the daughter-in-law who came to this house, so fulfill your role properly.
My mother-in-law yelled at me unreasonably. My mother-in-law seemed to be putting herself first all the time and stopped considering my circumstances. At first, she seemed to be trying to put on a good face, but her unreasonable behavior became worse and worse. When I bought side dishes because I was busy with work, she would say,
"You're not going to feed us this kind of food,"
and throw it in the trash.
I can see why Mason has been treated so badly until now. But from now on, I won't let you do whatever you want. I'll guide you to become a good daughter-in-law.
My mother-in-law said that, but throwing away side dishes without touching them is too cruel. That night, I talked to Mason about it. I reported all the unreasonable things my mother-in-law had said to me in detail. But Mason didn't take my side.
Isn't it because of your attitude?
What?
Mom is a wonderful person. She's trying to guide you, right? Isn't that something to be grateful for? And she's right. You shouldn't buy side dishes. If you were a normal housewife, you'd cook homemade meals.
I have night shifts, you know?
Then quit your job and become a housewife. You can do both household chores and caregiving if you quit your job.
What? Are you serious?
I have to say that because you're not doing your household chores properly. If you don't like it, do your household chores properly.
Okay, I understand. I was suddenly disillusioned with Mason. I thought he would be on my side. But to win the trust of Mason and my mother-in-law, I had no choice but to work hard on household chores. I'm competitive, so I tried to do my best. I wouldn't let them complain. With that in mind, I worked hard to balance housework and work. But my mother-in-law never recognized my efforts.
Your cleaning is sloppy. You're slow with the laundry. Your cooking is terrible. You're a terrible daughter-in-law.
No matter how hard I tried, my mother-in-law never recognized me. She even started to lie to Mason more and more. For example, she said I was meeting another man in town, gambling, or taking money from my mother-in-law's wallet. She made statements that could be sued for defamation. And Mason believed it all.
What are you doing? Cheating, gambling, and stealing? That's not something a person can do.
Wait a minute, do you believe your mother's lies? I would never do such a thing. Every time Mason blamed me, I tried to explain myself desperately. I couldn't believe he would believe my mother-in-law's lies.
Are you saying Mom is lying?
Yes, your mother is lying.
Don't talk bad about Mom. She's a kind and wonderful person.
Kind and wonderful? That's far from the truth about my mother-in-law. At least I've never seen that side of her.
Mom is tired from taking care of Dad. Don't do anything that will make her more troubled.
Why does he believe my mother-in-law's words so easily? I was getting more and more angry with Mason. If he doesn't believe me at all, then I don't need to be Mason's wife. I started to think that way. And in the midst of all this, I learned a surprising fact. It happened one day when I received a text message from a junior nurse while I was working. She was supposed to be off today. I opened my smartphone during my break and saw the message. The contents were surprising.
I saw someone who looked like your husband walking with a young woman. They were walking arm in arm, and it didn't look like they were just acquaintances. She wasn't your husband's sister or anything, was she?
My hand holding the smartphone trembled. I couldn't believe that Mason, who suspected me of having an affair, was having an affair himself. Or rather, because he was having an affair, he might be suspicious of me. I immediately hired a private investigator. Evidence was collected in no time. I decided to divorce and leave that house. I was preparing for the future. But in the midst of all this, Mason suddenly yelled at me in anger.
Hey! Do you know what you're doing?
What? What are you talking about?
You tried to feed my parents rotten food for breakfast, didn't you?
What? No, I didn't. Besides, today's breakfast was...
Shut up. Don't lie to me.
But I'm not lying. I didn't have time to cook that day, so I bought various ingredients that they could eat by themselves, like bread, jam, and yogurt, and put them in the fridge. I didn't make anything for my in-laws. That means my mother-in-law is lying. But Mason wouldn't listen to a word I said.
You're such a lowlife. Get out of here. I don't want to see your face.
He kicked me out of the house after believing my mother-in-law's lies. My mother-in-law was laughing at me from behind. I don't care anymore. If that's how he feels, I won't show any mercy. I'll drag you down to hell. Fine, I'll leave. I packed my bags and left my in-laws' house. Then I went back to my parents' house. My parents were surprised to see me come back so suddenly, but they were outraged when I explained the situation.
That's unbelievable. I can't believe they were such a terrible family.
Like I said before, you can stay here as long as you want.
I felt a surge of relief from my parents' kindness. I must have been under a lot of stress at my in-laws' house. I was able to relax and rest my body at my parents' house for the first time in a long time. I also started working by going from my parents' house. I still had some of my belongings at my in-laws' house, but I was able to bring back the essentials, so it wasn't a problem. About a week later, Mason called me, but I ignored him. He kept calling me, but I ignored him. I prepared for the divorce. About a month after I left my in-laws' house, I visited them. It was a day off, so Mason was at home.
Oh, you finally came back. How are you? Have you reflected on your mistakes? I thought you must be really depressed because you didn't answer the phone. Well, from now on, you'll have to take care of Mom and Dad.
He said that to me. And my mother-in-law was smirking with her arms crossed.
I'll teach you a good lesson, so be prepared.
They seemed to think that I came back. They probably expected me to beg for forgiveness. But I didn't come here to return to my in-laws' house. I came here to divorce. I handed the divorce papers to Mason in front of me.
Huh? What's that? What?
Mason froze when he realized it was a divorce paper.
What do you mean, you want to divorce me?
Yes. Then please sign here.
Hey, wait a minute. It's crazy to suddenly divorce me.
Mason looked panicked. And so did my mother-in-law.
That's right. You can't just divorce him like that. You have a duty to help us as his wife.
I don't need his permission to divorce him in this case. It's an absolute divorce. I can fight you in court if you want.
Wait!
My mother-in-law was flustered by the word court. And she couldn't say anything else and just froze. I just came to get the rest of my stuff today. Besides, your father's dementia was a lie, right? I heard your conversation from your room the other day. You thought if you said he needed care, I would have to live with you, right? But it worked out well, didn't it? I also heard you praising him for his great acting. So he wasn't really demented, right? That's why he refused to go to the hospital so stubbornly.
That's...
My mother-in-law was shaken by the fact that I saw through her lie. Ignoring her, I packed up my stuff and left my in-laws' house. And I got in my father's car waiting outside and went back to my parents' house. After that, I divorced Mason through a lawyer and demanded alimony from Mason and his mistress. I got them to pay $30,000 each. Mason's affair became known at his company and it became a big problem. Apparently, his mistress was his boss's wife. It became a messy situation and Mason was demoted and transferred to a local branch. It's all his own fault, and he deserves it. And my former mother-in-law was punished by fate. She got a slipped disc and had to be hospitalized for a while. As a result, there was no one who could do the housework. And my former father-in-law had to take care of himself. But he couldn't cook or clean at all. He couldn't cook for himself, so he ate what he bought every day. And because of that, he got sick and had to go to the hospital. They all got what they deserved. On the other hand, I became single and moved back to my parents' house and got a better environment to work hard. So I'm working harder than ever. Thanks to that, I got promoted. I don't need love for a while, so I'll just focus on my work and earn a lot of money. And save up more and more.
How did you like this story? Please also subscribe to my channel. See you in the next